This sundown allergies. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, how's everyone doing? Hello, hello. Today I'm doing reading for donations and then plus talking about what's going on the channel as well here. So if you're wanting a reading, it's a $20 donation. You can cash out. But we're also going to be talking about what's been going on here on the channel if you want to talk about that, which I want to talk about that, about the things that I have been sharing here to kind of catch people up to par. I know it's a lot bit, especially when it comes to the ancient mother, the things that I have been dropping on this channel. I know it is jaw dropping. I know it is triggering. I know that. When I first, when it first started coming into my spirit, it was jaw dropping to me as well. When the ancient mother was start revealing this stuff to me on my healing journey, it was jaw dropping to me. I was like, people are not going to want to hear this. Women are not going to want to hear this. I don't even want to hear this. But now that I go back looking at when it occurred to me 7 years ago, it's all happened. I look at it as a warning too, that I didn't really listen to before I got married. You know, it's something when you start to go back and start doing your healing work and doing some reflection, you see where you had your signs, the flags was there, and you just didn't pay attention. But it was something, I wrote that book right around the time I met my soon-to-be ex-husband. And I didn't know then that the ancient mothers was dropping, jewels on me, really telling me, hey, you probably don't want to do this. You probably don't want to do this. So let me give y'all my cash app while I'm sitting here yapping. But you give me your, I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear your feedback on, because we talked about a lot of stuff on this channel. If you watched here lately, I've been talking about the divine feminine. And after doing my esoteric studies, occult studies, and looking through spirituality before there was religion, it was all matrifocal. It was all matrilineal. And I'm getting ready I'm doing a book review now on the Great Cosmic Mother. And this book is going to blow y'all away. I mean, I had to do this book in section. It is so triggering. The psychological studies that men have done on women, scientists, anthropologists, archaeologists, they all know that the Black woman is the origin of civilizations. They know this. It's another level. The same way when I start unpacking racism, how we start unpacking racism and seeing what our ancestors went through and how many, lost their lives for us to be here. You go through a lot of grieving stages when you really start looking at the history. If you're a person of color that look like me, you go through a lot of grieving stages. You be like, oh my gosh, it all comes to full circle because you only get a fraction of the truth when you go, when we're at school. So when we start do these studies on our own and talk to each other, we recognize a total genocide. That is what you gonna see when I go through this book, The Great Cosmic Mother, when I do this book review. And it's so much like the Sibyls. Her story, even though she's telling it from a Neanderthal perspective, it's right in line with Mama Zogby's book, The Sibyls, which you're gonna go through that. And during the book review, I'm kind of show you that side by side, they're saying the same thing. Women are said the same thing. We were connected by matrifocal. That's why you see all the religions, all of that stuff, why it's so similar. Even in my studies right now, which we're diving deeper into hoodoo, they're talking about like you were still there, but what gets you is the wording, because they're using African American and we ain't African. You know what I'm saying? And that thing in the Grand Canyon, like for example, Grand Canyon, they don't want nobody going up in there. It's not the fact that it was Egypt. It is the fact that you're gonna find out it was the hub, the center, the hub of the matriarch queen, the empress. You're gonna find that out if they was to let people up in there, and archaeology and anthropologists, it's gonna trace you back to the first. It's gonna trace you back to a woman. You're gonna be traced back to the woman. That's what's gonna happen. They don't want that. When I do this book review, you're gonna see how many times that patriarchs had a chance to share this information with the masses and refused to do it. They refused to do it. Yes. They refused to do it. They did not want to do it. So, diving back into that information, and then even going the closer that I look at hoodoo, and they said the Africans, because we're studying it now, and then you look at the cosmograph, this cosmograph that the indigenous people shared, that's matrifocal. That's matriarch spiritual practice. When you look at that cosmograph, the medicine wheel come from women. That's where that medicine wheel come from. It come from those matrifocal, matrilineal cultures. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, especially men. They do not want to hear that. But I like I said, when I was looking at the show Hidden Colors, that was something, because in the back of my mind, the whole time this was going on, I was like, why aren't they missed that? It's a study mentioning these fathers, but these fathers cannot reproduce these children. The fathers just cannot. So where are the mothers? It was amazing to me. None of them were talking about the mothers. I think that was a red flag for me. I had never paid attention to it at first until I started watching that. And that's what sent me down the rabbit hole of looking for myself again. The more you get to know yourself on your spiritual journey, not only did I find myself as a Black woman, but I began to find myself as a Black woman in the world, and how far back my history goes. See, men know their history. They know ours too, but they're not going to go into all that. They're going to beat their own drum because they're egocentric. They're ego-driven. That's what drives them. I think another interesting clip that I was watching, I don't know if I posted it here or not, But another interesting clip I was watching when Bobby Hemmett was giving a lecture on the divine feminine. And he said, the way he was describing the womb, the vagina, and the way that he was telling men when they fall in love, how they act and how they resist it, and they shouldn't resist it or whatever. But it was his presentation of it, his delivery of it. Men do not want to go into things and tell the truth. They do not want to tell the truth. And then when they hear it from a woman, because patriarchy, and I don't even want to say it's patriarchy. It's almost like they are programmed to go against the divine feminine, love itself. That's just been my experience. Like it's a part of them they will not totally embrace because they're not from this. They have no cosmogenetic link to this planet. I don't know. That's just been my experience. Tell me what you think in the comments. I want to hear what y'all saying. I see it's two people in here. That's what I'm seeing now. It's two people. But that's been my experience when unpacking that and then looking at patriarchy and psychologically, because see, we're getting ready to go to 5D. You hear a lot of people talk about 5D, but I don't think they really break it down. I don't think they really breaking it down, because that's what COVID was about. That pushed people to go in and start questioning things and start unpacking some of this shadow work so some of us can go to 5D. I mean, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that the balance of the feminine and masculine energy. I don't doubt that you balance that. But we're living in a society now that does not allow that balance to exist. That's what's going on now. We living in a society of men that suppress and oppress the divine feminine. That's what we're living in now. That's the time that's the time change of the patriarchs. Humanity was living in this golden age when the divine feminine was present. We're also suppressing a lot of sexuality when we go to look at this homosexuality. That is also, and then the down low men. I can go into all of this because, again, we are talking about sexuality and spirituality. It's all one. We can't separate that. We cannot separate that. So when you're looking at homosexuality, when you're looking at this down low, you're seeing a suppression of the divine feminine manifesting itself, which I'm going to talk about that in this book called The Great Cosmic Mother. You're seeing that divine feminine, these people, men can embody it too. You got feminine men. You had this in the ancient culture. This was nothing new until the patriarchs come on the scene and start make it negative, making it something bad. When it was nothing bad, it was just the embodiment. Some men could embody that divine feminine energy. There were some men that could. You still have that today with some homosexual or feminine men. No one wants to talk about that. They like to try to separate that, but you cannot separate that because that's all energy. That's all energy. You see that today. It's all energy. But the way the patriarchs, the way society has got it set up now with men in these authoritative positions, it's not spiritually conducive to the planet. because he is not that archetype. Now he can embody it, he can connect with it, but he is not that original organic archetype. And so though we understood this in our ancient mysteries, we understood the spirit of this planet. And then two, let me go back to the black woman, because we're just ignoring the black woman. The black woman she is the foundation of all of this. And you are being specifically targeted. I mean, if you don't think you're being targeted, it's because you're distracted. You're not paying attention. You are not paying attention if you are a woman of color and you don't think that you're being targeted here. If you don't think you're being targeted, you got another thing coming. It's time for you to wake up. Black woman, you're the missing piece of this all. You're the one who can set this straight. Because women, we are the first teachers in the home. We're birthing the children through our portals. So we're the first, we are the embodiment of the living God. We are the embodiment of that. Now, when I go through this book, what was interesting to me when I was going through that book, The Great Mother, because we have always said this as a topic. Women, we have always said that. We have experienced some sort of, it feels like jealousy sometimes from some of these men. It feels like the more we accomplish, the less respect we get from our male counterparts. We get no validation or recognition for that. And to us, it felt like jealousy. Where when I was reading this book, The Great Cosmic Mother, that's exactly what really happened. Because women was responsible for finding all the food and seeding and finding medicine. Women took on the big role because they were already here. There were this planet. Even looking at the fetus when it in gestation, it is feminine first. You can go back to science with this. There were women here on this planet, from what I'm reading, millions of years before the male species was introduced into the ecological system. Everything here was divine feminine. The ocean, divine feminine. So it is something that's tracked all that back, and to see how much of this is totally disregarded and left out of history. And they are constantly putting the male first when he has no cosmogenetic link. Women have a link. We have a moon cycle. We are totally linked with this planet. Psychologically, that's why we're psychic. That's why a lot of us are intuitive. I know a lot of men don't want to hear that. I know that's not a popular truth. I know it is not. But that's the fact of the matter. I mean, that's just what it is. And I was so excited to do that book review. Doing that book review, I was just so excited about it. It's going to blow you guys away. It definitely is blowing me away as I post it and record it and go through the book review with you. But it's basically the same story. Now, I've also shared some stuff here about shamanic practicing. And that's like the core of your spiritual practices if you want to connect with spirit and ancestors. If you want to astral travel or to connect with your ancestors astrally, you can do that as well. It's very, very possible to do it because everything is consciousness and everything is mind, and we share this collective consciousness. That's why a lot of us are starting to go through our mind. We're going to the 5D. That's really 5D, the virtual reality. That's 5D, being able to put your consciousness, knowing that you are not your body. to put your conscious, be able to project your consciousness elsewhere. But we're so used to this physical realm because the ego is so attached to this physical realm, this physical experience. It doesn't really want to accept that the astral realm is actually real. That's why you see a lot of people talking about imagination is so important. You know, creativity is so important because that created the physical realm. In fact, that is creating the physical realm. That's creating the physical realm. When you go into astral travel, and I know I couldn't believe it until I started reading psychology books. What's going to help you open that up is going into psychology. That's going to really open it up. You can even read books. I think that I had a parapsychology book. I need to get that book again, but I had a parapsychology book. And I was like, wow, this is a thing. And I got to looking at it. But when psychology means the study of the soul. So you're looking at how the science of the soul. And what is the soul? The soul is the mind. And once you start breaking down the archetypes that live in our mind, and we share as a collective consciousness, you'll be able to access those astral realms. The same thing with ayahuasca. What do you think that's happening when you have an ayahuasca experience? You're going to the astral realm. You're going to 5D. You're going to 5D. When you take that ayahuasca and you go on these journeys, that's what that is. That's just how all it is. Our ancestors used psychedelic plants as well to go into the astral realm. Trances, ecstatic dancing. That's what you see when people at church getting the Holy Ghost and all around. That's what that is. Your ancestors are really, they are coming down on you. That's what that is. You can call that what you will, but that is very old. That is a very old practice, indigenous practice. It's very, very old. So that's what you see. That's a very old practice. So shamanic journeying, having those path working techniques, because you can go there. Now, I experienced myself go there, and you probably going there and don't even know it. Now, you probably going there and you don't even know it. If you're wanting a tarot reading, a full moon tarot reading, I put my Cash App in the comments. It's a $20 donation if you're interested. Now, this is an age-old practice. It is old. It is an old practice. We have been practicing this. Now, you're probably already doing it. And I think we do it when we read books. When you read books and your imagination start to try to imagine how this story looks in your mind's eye, you are actually going to the astral plane. It happens. You probably don't, even because it's so subtle. Now, if you were doing that on purpose, you can start having experiences. I want to talk about it in a way where it's simple, when it's simplified for you. You know, where you can go into these realms. That's why you hear people that come back and they talk about this ayahuasca journey. You can have that same experience at home when you know how to go in and access your own natural DMT. Or you can use psychedelics. Many of our ancestors, they use, psychedelics sometimes to get there even faster. Or ecstatic dancing. They all use something different. It is no right or wrong way to do this. And I think people that do, because I'm coming from another perspective now, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way because it can get misconstrued because of the religious doctrines and stuff that people are still holding on to. I think that people that live in an altered state of consciousness that knows how to access that more frequently walk closer with spirit. Even some of these people that we think that have these mental illnesses or whatever, some of them are experiencing the spiritual realm. I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it simple for you. I'm going to keep it simple for you. So let me put this back in here. I don't know if a new is still in here, a new coding, but I'm going to put this Cash App back in here if you guys are interested in the reading. And we're in the full moon in Capricorn. That's another thing I wanted to talk about too. When we went through that, that eclipse and that moon came out at the beginning of the day, the downloads that I was getting from the ancient mother, that was a significant event. That was a significant event for the divine feminine. Expect these things with women to speed up, because the energy that came from that moon had a big impact on women and how our relationships with the men on this planet. That shift, it is how we are highly influenced by the moon. Our nesting cycle, when we're pregnant, when to give birth, when not to give birth. We are highly connected with this planet. We are highly connected with this planet. So when you seen that moon go through that cycle, a lot of people didn't pay attention to that. Some people did. But for me, I saw that as a big shift that's beginning to happen with that divine feminine. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, you're going to see these birth rates go low. They're going to go low because the people, the children that's being born today, you younger generation, you're embodying that divine feminine energy, and you're going to set things right. You already have that programming with you from where you came from. I'm going to keep it simple. From where you came from. Some of these, some of you that's being born now, I say within the last 20 to 25 years, you are embodying an older soul. An older soul that already knew this information. And then some of us, after that full moon, again, these are energies, and they impact us in our regular bodies. You have your celestial bodies and you have your physical body. The physical body is a manifestation of the celestial bodies, especially women, because you are biogenetically linked. I've already told you that with that moon coming out. So whatever energy that came out, it's going to impact you psychologically to start looking at things totally different, your relationships. It's going to really help you dive deeper into your emotions as well and what's affecting your energy. All of this is a byproduct of these celestial body movements upon the human consciousness. I hope this makes sense to you. That's the way it was explained to me. That's the way I understood it. And so now you're going to see a whole bunch of big shifts, especially when the birth rate is going to go drop. And I, have said this. Now, you saw that stuff that happened with Trump. These are big signs that we kind of just missing. Because I was like, when the ancestor mother was telling me that, I was like, there's no possible way that this could happen, because again, I'm looking at now, that was like, it's going to happen. The elements are there. All the ingredients is there. All our the ingredients are there. So I'm saying to myself, I'm saying to myself, okay, I don't know what this means. So, but when that stuff popped off with Trump, and he pulled that, and then Biden he said he doesn't want to run anymore. And we already know where this abortion laws is coming from. And it looks like to me that Project 2025 with the Republicans is really going to impact women. It's going to impact you. Now you looking now, oh, that's just that abortion law. It's nothing. It's nothing. When these birth rates go low and women decide not to bring any more slaves through their portals because they have really broken it down like this. They need labor. They need energy. You are nothing but an energy body for this physical realm. I'm going to break this down for this physical realm. This physical realm is the lower. This is the lower earth. This is the earth that you're in. We're starting to realize this is the lower earth. This is where slaves are born into the physical form. I know this might be above a lot of y'all people, a lot of your head. You might probably think I'm crazy. You might think I'm crazy. But this is what's happening through women's portals. And we're unconscious about it because they have disconnected it from our bodies. They have found a way to disconnect us from our bodies. And quite frankly, our mind. Quite frankly, our mind. So you are going to see this. You are going to see these women. And when these birth rates go low, because men, I can go so deep with this. Men are not going to take this well. Because women are not going to be having children like that anymore. There's going to be a low birth rate. You know, there's going to be a low birth rate. Thank you, Cosan. There's going to be a low birth rate. And when this happens, it's going to be felt by the higher ups. Black women, you need to pay attention right now. This happened before in ancient times. What do you think that was happening in that Bible? We're going to go over this too when we go through the book Cosmic Mother, because I don't want you to think I'm just making this up. The ancient mother show, all this stuff. You know, I didn't want to believe it because it wasn't popular. You know, no one was talking about it, but I wrote the book Matriarch to Patriarch, kind of talking about this. When this affect the higher ups, because they can't, that's why slavery was so important. Why do you think they were breeding slaves? They need labor. They need energy. They have to consume energy. Patriarch is built on consuming energy from women and children. That's who's been affected here. Who's been oppressed the most on this physical realm? Women and children. You better get your head out the sand, wherever your head is, you better get it in the game. You better realize what platform you're on when you're dealing with patriarchy. When you're dealing with patriarchy, that's the platform you're on. This is the playing field that he has created for himself, even though it's not real. Because the only thing we have to do is change our mind and not play the game. It's only held together through your consciousness. But they had to beat this through you. That's what you think that Bible was about, them marrying, Abraham marrying his wife. Jacob marrying his wife. They were marrying these sibyls. They were marrying these ancient bloodline of women, of black women. See, this was understood in the ancient world. Why you think we got Shakti, Kali Ma, all these goddess energies? Because that was the original foundation of it. Before the patriarchs start pinning their pictures on top of it. They became very jealous of women. And it's important for men to unpack that too. They don't want to unpack that. They don't want to address these negative issues, but they project them out. When men start to understand his psychology and what he is doing against himself, because when they do this, they not only go against us, but he defy his own nature. He become perverse in his own nature. Again, this is psychology. You're seeing it play out here. You're seeing it. And people think that, Oh, psychology has nothing to do spiritually. If your mind ain't right, how you talking to a spirit? If you ain't got your mind right, you ain't got your emotions on check, how you interfacing with a spirit? See, this is why we have a lot of problems with them in spiritual authority as well, because they have not unpacked that, and they quench. They don't even want the divine feminine, and it calls him to go into himself and act out in these perverse ways. I know it don't make sense. I know you said it was going out of my head, but I think another great read is Frances Wilson, the ISIS Papers. When she was telling people this was going to happen, that men were going to be wearing dresses and they were going to be carrying purses, and how there was going to be an influx of this. People thought she was crazy. They thought she was absolutely out of her mind. This is not going to happen to our men. It is happening now. Because you don't understand the psychology of patriarchy. Because you don't understand what is going on. You don't understand that. And once you understand and accept that you are in a psychological, I don't even know what to call it. Your mind is being played with on so many levels. And it's only working because they have conditioned you. They have mentally conditioned you to go away. Now, patriarchy works a lot like racism. It works a lot like racism. When we tell men, hey, you got an issue going on. You're with this mess. You got something going on, and you're abusing this position because you have this authority. It is sexual imperialism. I can put it like that. It's a sexual imperialism. Racism is nothing but a cover-up for the real problem, because the matriarchs never had a problem with color, because we understood that we came from these dark-skinned women. Even the white women, we understood that. We had no problem with that. That's why all our rituals, all our spiritual customs are so similar. Because these rituals connected us with the planet, Mother Earth, and the moon, and ourselves, and humanity. We understood this. That's why you'll see different religions that have some of the similar beliefs and practices. They have a universal connection, some of them, because they all come from women. They all come from dark women that gave birth to these civilizations. And men came in that Bible. Do you actually think they were enslaving women and children? Many of the slaves were women. When you go back and look at who was doing most of the agriculture and seeding, it was women. I'll tell you what, look at the history of corn. Corn started here in ancient America. And then you start to see corn and artifacts and art and all over the world. Why? Because they were sharing that. They were sharing that knowledge of corn, how to grow corn. It was a matriarchal society. You don't see later to these patriarchs come in. Now, their story is something I don't know really how to unpack it. But what I see from the XY chromosome, they don't come in until years, like millions of years later. And I know, again, these things are not being told to us. And I kind of think history, when I look at these years and how they compile them, I'm just like, dang, how long was this stuff? How long was this, ago? Because you're seeing it now. You know what I'm saying? That's what's like, it seemed like this stuff just happened yesterday. So like this stuff just happened, because it's still playing out right now. It just continues to play out. And so what you're seeing now is this patriarchy is on its last leg. As the birth rates drop low, because they will, they are, there are more birth rates than they're telling you. That's the reason why they're putting abortion on everything, trying to control women's portal. This is a subtle way. But when these birth drops drastically, because they're going to drastically change, because women, we are not taking any more abuse. We don't have to use them for resources. We're resourceful ourselves. And we're starting to understand that if we're resourceful ourselves, like really why would we get in a relationship with them? And how is it going to benefit us? And we are defining how we want these relationships to look. And for men, that's a take back, because how dare you? This world is mine. Like Brown James saying, it's a man's world. It's a man, but the woman make it go round. The woman make it go round. Absolutely. You created a false, whatever this is, people dying and women being abused and the human trafficking and all this sort of stuff. No, I don't nobody want you up in here doing. You had, oh my gosh, I'm trying not to get triggered. You have had thousands of years to set this right and show the world your morality and spiritual evolution. You have not done that. It is time to sit down. So when these birth rates drop, and I don't even like saying it. I don't even like saying this, because I'm just like, no, ancestors, this cannot happen. I don't want to say this, but it will be a coup. It will, because women need to understand your portal is gold. Because without them bringing in people in here to use for energy, for labor, for work, to exploit, this world that man created could not exist. Why do you think they took over like that and start breeding these men like this? Hurry up and start kidnapping these women. Why do you think it was an influx of women having 8, 9, 10 children? Why do you think that? They could not replicate themselves. They came here 200 years ago under, from what I'm seeing, the reptilian species. Because we're going back to science. Men get mad about this, but we were parthenogenetically replicating ourselves. We could replicate ourselves. They could not. I don't care how they tell that story. I don't care how they tell that story. And that is in my spirit. The ancient mother said, period. We was here first, period. Period. End the story. They came later. Now, we just showed you proof of this. You can see it even in nature. When you see Lady Justice, there's no man representing justice. There's no man embodying that. Lady Liberty, there's no man embodying the liberty. There's no man. You can see that. They letting you know right off the top, they playing with your mind. And women, we have to snap out of it. Get your portal in control, because they taking advantage of your ignorance, of our ignorance. They've been taking advantage of our ignorance. And then try to gaslight us when we tell them about themselves. But you got it right. They don't want that. That's that divine feminine coming through. That's what the Sibyls was telling. That whole Bible is addressed to men about the stuff that they do. The messed up shit they do. That's what that's about. And when that dark divine feminine comes in, they call her, oh, she evil. No, she's justice. She's coming back to get justice. That's going to happen, buddy. That's going to happen. There's no way around that. That's going to happen. You cannot suppress the original organic cosmic energy on this planet. And women, whether you know it or not, you're going to set things right. The only thing you don't have to do is participate in the religious and the politics and come up with our own stuff. It don't take, you don't have to march in the streets, because we are the one teaching our children. All we have to do is teach our children different. Don't interface. We've been teaching. They've been counting on this. That's why they beat this into you. That's why they have their religion the way they do about women. Second servants. They have prop children and women up to serve them. Why do you think we have this human trafficking and stuff going on? Why do you think that? They really don't want women either in their religion. They really don't like women And I think that is a thing too, because they feel like once you get in there and you really tap in the Holy Spirit, let's get it real, which is the great mother, the ancient mother. No man can provide that nurturing like that. This is a total lie. I like to keep Mary in the background of Jesus, but Jesus is not even the important person there. He is not. They made that up. That was them trying to embody feminine attributes. Jesus made it up because these men were trying to spiritually evolve, because you're not from here. Now, some of them can connect collectively through their consciousness, through their ancestors. They can connect consciously through their ancestors. But they don't have a biological link here like we do. It's important that you understand that, women. They can connect consciously through their ancestors. But the women, the Agi, the Wiccans, the witches, the prophetess, we are connecting with this planet and the whole universe, because the whole universe is divine feminine. That's what they're not going to tell you. It's nothing but a big old womb. It's a big old womb. That's what I'm telling you. Even that, I can go on and on with this. And this is not a popular truth. But when these birth rates go down drastically, another movie to watch, and it didn't make sense because I watched this movie maybe 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. This movie called Children of Men. And in this movie, there was no children. It was just one black woman, one black girl that got pregnant, and people did not understand how she got pregnant because it had not been any births in the world for, it had been 20 years, because over 20 years, because the oldest man, I think he was 25. He was the youngest human being on the planet. And I was like, this is a strange movie. I watched it twice. I was like, what is this trying to tell me? What is this trying to tell a viewer? What is this? And now it makes so much sense now, whoever made that movie. But the name of the movie is called Children of Men. And this black girl, I was like, oh my gosh, they was dropping gems in that show subliminally. And I guess I was catching it, but I wasn't understanding. And I guess it wasn't to be understood until now, because now it makes sense. Even that show, The Handmaid's Tale, I love that show. I was like, why does this seem so familiar? Why do I love this show? And the ancient mother said, because it's happened before. And it's going to happen again. Then they asked the women, why did y'all create this show? They said, because we suspect that this will happen again with the laws that's going on in Congress right now. And this before this abortion stuff even came about. Look how long this show is, and now you see what the abortion stuff is going on. Women, you have better wake yourself up. You have better wake yourself up, because they have told you you are not the key, but you are absolutely the fucking key. I done told you that. Now I'm talking to black women, but white women, you too. Because again, we all belong to the ancient mother. We are her children. We are from this, we are organically, our bodies are organically connected here. Now, men are connected through consciousness, through ancestral lines. They can't connect. Now, they can connect with the cosmic mother through their sexuality as well. That's why you have a lot of these, you see a lot of homosexuals, and some of them are very spiritual. Some of them are tapped in. That's because they have that, because you can't have one without the other. See, that's the thing with the church, with religious. They try to separate sexuality from spirituality, but sexuality is spirituality. We understood that. That's why you'll see in that Bible too, that you have these men going to these temples, they have these sexual temples, tantrics, if you will, you can call them, where you can access your, open up your Kundalini energy through sex. I saw this one time too in a movie. What was the name of this movie? Show. Salem Witch. Salem. It was a show called Salem. And in this movie, this woman, she was having, you probably seen this scene, she was having sex with this man. And see, she was tapped into this old knowledge because she was a witch. She was having sex with this doctor. And she said, slow down. She was like, slow down. Don't have an orgasm. I want you to slow down. And so when they slowed down, he could see the planets. He could see the stars. It was like they were in space. And it tripped him out because he had no idea that he could experience that. So really, we don't know enough about how they have taken away that ancient knowledge of sex as well, because it's supposed to be used to help us spiritually develop as well. But they have perversed it. A lot of them have perversed it. A lot of knowledge has been taken, hidden and taken away from us. Even the art of sex, the art of lovemaking, to open up those universal energies. Now, that is how men, many of them embody that divine feminine. It's through their sexuality, but they have suppressed that energy. They've suppressed that. Now they're bound down to this other energy, their own energy, and it knocks him off balance because he refuses to interface with the divine feminine. He refuses this. Their religion refuses this, or even to admit this, because if they admit this, again, the black woman got to go back in her natural place. The black woman will naturally go back in her white place, where she belongs. It took them thousands and thousands and thousands and you can't imagine. Just as big as that Bible is, that's how many years it took them to stomp it out. Because it was in the planet. It was everywhere. Now, they hid it by naming a lot of these gods, men like Allah. Allah now used to be Alat. The divine feminine. So this is a reality that they don't want to deal with. They're not ready to deal with right now. And the best way for women, which I see the young generation is coming in, because these are ancient souls. These are ancient mothers that start to come in. This new generation of women, these goddesses saying, we don't want to do this with men. We don't want to do this. And we don't like that y'all took all this stuff from them. And now they expecting us to do the same thing y'all doing. That's slavery, which I was doing with slavery. We're not going to do that. Nobody is doing that. I mean, and I like it. I like it. I love it. I love it because I know that it's divine feminine. They're embodying that energy and they're trying to set things back right. And as they do this, I don't like saying it. At some point, there will be a coup. And there will be a scramble for women. That is why it is important for women to understand who they are and to study this species, men. Study them, the psychology, because believe me, they took their time to study us. They took their time to study us. That's why they are so successful in what they're doing. And you don't feel like they're a threat. But when you look at the number of women that's unalive compared to men, it'll show change your mind. So they showing you all these men and stuff being unalive by brutality. But let's do the statistics on women and children. The women and children, the abuse of women and children, and under whose hand that this is happening under. It'll put things in a better perspective for you, but it's not being presented to you that way. Another example of this is a popular TikTok video where there was versus the man and the bear. And most women chose the bear. And this pissed men off. But even some men chose the bear for their daughters. They was like, I'd rather you be with the fucking bear. I'd rather you be with the bear. Because they know the nature of men. Men inherently know their nature. They know that. They're not going to tell you that out and tell you that. They might be among themselves and maybe talk about this type of stuff, but they inherently know what goes on in their psychology, and it is not nurturing. And I'm not trying to bash them. It is just a fact. It is just nature. You can see that in nature. You don't see animals following their fathers around in nature. They don't follow the daddy. In fact, you have some animals even kill the masculine mate after they mate and have children. They dispose of them. Or you see all the children or the offspring of the animal is following the mother. They are not following the father. They are not following the father. It is not natural. I know men get pissed off about that, but that happened too. When they start to see this, and men start to see this, they wanted control of that. The ego in them. The ego in them. They wanted to redo that. That's what happened in Egypt. The matriarch's like, no, we're not having it because we've been like this for the millennials. We're not changing that for you because this is an ecological system. This is not just what you think it is. You know what I'm saying? This is what keeps everything, the planet, everything in its natural state. Because the more that it stays in this dark masculine energy, which dark masculine energy is nothing but dark feminine energy. He's not even feminine himself. Biologically, he's not. The biological suit that he carry is from us. It's from us. It's I don't want to get into that. I talked about that kind of in that Urugu video. But he don't, you know, I can talk about this on and on. You know, I can get out into this, but he doesn't want to as this go on, even if they don't, you're gonna see this divine energy on this planet. You're going to see more hurricanes pick up. You're going to see more tornadoes pick up. You're going to see a lot of this stuff, climate change, really shift. They could tell you, oh, it's the sun. It's the sun. Okay. Okay, you're going to blame it on the sun. It's, what they call it. I can't remember the name of it now, what they call it. They can tell you it's the ozone layer or whatever. They can tell you all of this stuff. It's the ozone layer and it's the sun, all that. Okay. All right. But this planet, until it gets back into its natural state and back in its correct ecological system, which is spiritual too, because this ecological system that's on there, it doesn't have any rights back to the planet and the land. We're supposed to be outside, not in these churches. Nature is the church. They have totally cut us off from that. And when women start going back to that, they put us back in our rightful place. The ecological system will go back in this natural place. I don't even know if, you know, it's going to come to the point where men going to have to totally destroy themselves. You'll see that in the beehive too. That's another, by looking at nature, you can really see how it's supposed to function. For example, you'll see the beehive. The beehive, you have the worker bees there. They're making the honey, all that good stuff. And then you have these drones that's there. That's there for the queen bee to get her pregnant. After she's gotten pregnant or whatever, if they are not productive in the hive, they are unalive. There's no use for them. Why am I saying this? I believe there are two, and I don't mean to be ugly. I don't mean to be mean. I don't mean to be, you know, that is not my intentions here. I'm just going back to nature and looking at nature. and how it balances itself. I believe there are too many men on this planet. There's not supposed to be as many men as it is. Especially embodying the energy, that warlike energy that they're in right now. I believe we were very careful about that. That's just my take on that. I seen the movie Power. Yep, I seen that movie Power. Yep, that's a good one too. About them little girls have that power. Yep, that was a good movie. That's another example of that. The movie Power is another example of that. I'm telling you now, they know it's coming. Why you think they're making these shows and stuff? And they trying to combat this. That Bible is about the divine feminine, our ancient ancestors, because these are old prophecies that men have wrote themselves in. I've already did a book study on that. The Africans who wrote the Bible, the symbols, all this information is out there. It need to be more women telling this story, because men, they have wrote their story over and over and over and over and over again. And we're reading this stuff, trying to spiritually elevate, but we're not making it to our peak because we don't know who we are. You're looking at the story from men's perspective. We're not looking at the story from our perspective. And once you start looking at the story from your perspective, it starts making sense. But it's not going to make any sense long as you hearing it from his perspective. It ain't going to make no damn sense. Like it don't make no sense for a woman to be coming from a man. How the hell if woman was made from man real, there would be no reason for her to procreate at all. This shit don't even make sense. You'll see these creation stories in Egypt too, where these people were born from these guys ejaculating. You see, that's them writing themselves in. You see that? What's the foundation? Okay, I'm gonna check that out. But I'm telling you, they know. They already know. That's why I'm telling black women, it's gonna be a war on your portal. That's why they're playing too. A lot of these black women to have their children for them. It's time to shut your portal down. Don't let no more souls come through here for them to be used as labor. You saw the video. That's how they see you. That man said, that's 200,000 people we could have put them to work. What the fuck? Really? To put in your matrix? To put in your false reality? No. You know, I even about children in here to be a part of this. This created whatever this is. Because it's failing. And once women start closing down their portals and stuff, they're going to get desperate. But the best thing for women to start doing is to get educated, learn self-defense, go back to your land. But I believe there are too many men on this planet. We didn't have that like that. We didn't have as many men as we see today. It wasn't like that. That's what I really believe that. They you know, just looking at this story and finding myself and looking at how they gaslight up and like to sit up and lie. Looking at this presidential election, this man sitting up here faking with somebody. Boy, please, ain't nobody coming for you. You a joke. We're really tired of this because now we kind of see what's really going on here. We see what's going on here. You a joke. We even had a black man president. What changed? Nothing. Long as men are in charge and long as they can manipulate women of color, because a lot of them that has manipulated the crap out of us. We don't even know who we are. We just go along with this. Some of us, we have what you call that Stockholm syndrome. We just love our abuser. But he is your biggest predator. And I don't mean this to disrespect men. I guarantee you need to go look at your statistics, look at your species statistics on violence. If you don't want to hear this. I really don't give a damn no more. It's the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. And this ain't to man bash or nothing. Yes, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the foundation. I'm telling you now, this is what's really happening. But they were trying to brainwash you. And the thing with me, like the ancient mother was telling me, girl, they have these studies on us. Do you know how long it took them to throw us over? Do you think we went out without a fight? This land belonged to us. This belonged to. Do you actually think that we went out without a fight? That's why you see the Amazon women. You can see that in the woman king. Look how weak that king was. Look how strong these Amazon women were, because that's what they were. They were these matriarchs. When I talk about the Amazon women, I'm talking about the old ancient armies. Where do you think these men learned from? They learned from women was the first teacher. Where do you think they learned this stuff, or learn how to make weapons and all this stuff? Where do you think that Tartarian era was from? Where do you think that came from? Women. Why do you think they use black women to help them calculate how to make these spaceships and stuff? They didn't have black men in there. They got black women in there. Who do you think created language, mathematics, astronomy, architecture? Who you think done that? Women. But they got you thinking men that did it. Who do you think was the first doctors, the first healers? Women. They got you thinking they did it, but that's what that witch hunt thing was about. That was to take over the medicinal practices of women. The medicinal practices of women. That was their last phase out. They were jealous, highly jealous, because we were already resourceful. You are already resourceful. And you're starting to see that now as you see women begin to walk away these relationships. They're like, why get into one? I mean, why am I really getting married? It really don't win, because I have my resources. I don't need, and that's the reason why too, men were able to vote. You seeing women voting last. Women couldn't get bank accounts. They couldn't buy houses. You haven't had your rights too long. You want to talk about how black people ain't had their rights too long. No, black men got their rights first. Black men got their rights first, black woman. You got your rights last. You just got your rights. You ain't had them long, women. You ain't had these rights long. Why do you think you are the epitome of fashion, of beauty, of culture? You are the epitome of that. You even have homosexuals and other cultures that try to mimic your energy, your personality. You are the why is that? It's the energy that you exude. You are the original muse. You are the original witch. You are truly the embodiment of the living God. Now, you don't believe that. You don't believe that. See, that's why I got to be here posting these videos, talking about this. Because you don't believe it. I didn't want to talk about it. I sure didn't. See? I have to watch that. Girl, you on these shows, ain't you? Creatrix Journey. See, they know. They know. It's the divine feminine. They know that. They know what it is. And when the divine mother, when we cut them off from these living waters, because we have living waters, we are, and we cut off these portals, you cut off their supply, you get undivided attention. And I can't wait till it happens, because it needs to happen. You have went too far. I mean, look what's going on in Palestine. Now, you know them people ain't supposed to be over there. Them people is not supposed. Them people ain't even claiming who they say they is. And then you've let this go on for so long. My thing too, these people been talking about this, been going on for about 20 years now. But Israel been doing the Palestine been going on for about 20 years. Now they have been just have it on the news like that, but that's been going on for a long time. That's why Palestine they start investing in making nuclear weapons, and then they try to what do you call it? They tried to find them for it or whatever, but they was like, y'all didn't say nothing to Israel, and Israel got nuclear weapons. And they can destroy us. They are destroying us. The only reason why we're making this is to be able to protect ourselves. But they know this all is warring. Do you actually believe that it was that much warring when the matriarchs were in charge? Do you actually think that? No, it was not. We were trying to feed people. We were trying to create more abundance for people. That's what mothers do. We were trying to make it livable for people. We were trying to tell them that, this ain't that. This ain't about taking over territory. This ain't about who got the most gold. This is about taking care of the planet. That's what we're guardians of this planet. What do you think the Avatar show was about? Now they showing you how they did it. That body, when he comes in and they they make him this body to go in with these people. What do you think that was about? They kind of switched it around a little bit. Again, they have to prop themselves up in there to make themselves a hero. What do a narcissist do? You think a narcissist is going to let you know that he is the shit starter? Yeah, it's gonna activate our power. That's what it's gonna do. Cause ain't nobody gonna keep doing this with them. Ain't nobody gonna keep doing this with you. Nobody's gonna keep doing this with you. Ain't nobody gonna keep doing that with you. And you beating your chest and all this stuff and women, what you bring to the table, not a damn thing. I am the damn table. And you're sitting on it and you need to get your ass off of it. You've been sitting on this damn table for too damn long time. You sit down. I am the table. What are you talking about? You sound like a damn fool. And women need to start telling them that you sound like a damn fool. You wouldn't be here, quite frankly, without me. It's just amazing. If this ain't the most messed up psychology, so they had to get your mind totally disconnect you. And you won't see it until you start healing your own psychology and start unprogramming that. You be like, what the? You've been totally. I feel the same way I feel when I was unpacking racism. I feel about this. It is the audacity for me, but for you to set yourself up like God, and you are not. You are not even from here. You have perverted this planet and messed up the ecological system, and you are raping it. All of y'all for its resources. I don't give a damn who. That's what y'all do. It don't even belong to you. It belongs to Mother Earth. It don't even belong to you. The gold, the land, none of that. It's crazy. You can't take none of this land, none of this stuff, but they leave it for their heirs. Again, there are portals, bringing another man in that embody that same messed up energy, that same programming. Don't bring no more up in here. Quite frankly, and then they tell us that we can't produce parthenogenetically anymore. I think they messed us up on that. I don't really believe that's true. I really believe that if we could do it before they got here, I don't think our bodies, we have not sat with our bodies and ourselves long enough to see if that can even happen. Because I really believe that we still, a lot of us can still do that. For instance, I don't know where this is at. It's somewhere on the islands, but they have these girls at a certain age. They will morph into boys. They start growing boys' genitals. This is happening now. I forgot which island it was, but these little girls, after they get a certain age, they start taking on a penis. They start growing that. And we can also look at the hermaphrodites too. That's born with two sexes. That's why I say it's somewhere still in the genetic coding. I think it still can be accessed within us. We don't know. We just know what they're telling us. You know, we don't know how many more lies they're going to tell you. I think that's the reason for these robots and all this stuff too, because they need energy. They need energy. They need bodies to do what they're doing. What that story of Billy Carson said, he said they had slaves here mining and doing all this, and then they got mad. They was like, they don't want to do this anymore. And so they created some more type of human species. Look, they came here because they couldn't replicate themselves. And we were already doing that. And we were trying to teach them to do that because we already had this ancient power here. There was, what you think that Ark of a Covenant was? What do you think that was? What do you think that Tartarian civilization was about? That was us. We did that. They're not doing nothing but putting their spin on what we created. When you see some of this ancient this technology, we already had that. We already had that. Teleportation, telepathy. We already knew that. We already knew this esoteric occult knowledge before they came in and took it over. They were coming to mystery school to learn from us. We ran the mystery schools. We already knew how to astral travel. We already knew how to access our alternate states of consciousness. When the kings, when they did anything, they always went to the prophets. They went to these women first before they did anything. They was responsible. The Sibyls was responsible for the global moral authority on this planet. Like you see the Holy See, Vatican, that was the black woman. All that stuff they sitting up there wearing, black women was wearing that stuff first. Their dresses and all, women had those positions first. They were wearing that, not them. I know that's the truth you don't want to hear. Now you think you're just seeing it in the other religions, which I was showing that when I was doing that review on Kamta and the Orishas. And there is some Ifa high priestess that'll talk about the that patriarchy up in the religion. Not many talk about it, but I've heard a few talk about it. But when you go, even that they changed their religion because their religion first was divine feminine. Even the indigenous religion. That's why it's a religion now. You'll see that it's closed because they want you to go through their ancestors, which I don't see nothing wrong with that. I'm not bashing it. That's not what I'm doing here. But you have to go through their ancestors to access these Orisha. But then you'll have in there the mighty Ajay or Ayay. These are the powerful witches in there. They'll tell you that the witches in that or the wise women in that, they are the most powerful. Why? Because this originally is a divine feminine spiritual practice. Now, they may not tell you that, out and tell you that, but you'll see if you go to research many of the indigenous religions, especially Ifa, Yoruba, what's the Lukumi, they'll tell you that the women in there, the Wiccans, the ones they consider the Ajay, the powerful Ajay, and I don't know if this is a combination of Oya, Yemiya, and Oshun. This is because Mama Wati is the embodiment of all of that. But they'll tell you that the women in that practice, they are powerful witches. Because again, this started off divine feminine. Now, was they forced? And I went through that with the doggone tribe. Remember, I broke that down, how they say they came from there. That same story, we're hearing that same story even in the indigenous spiritual practices. You're hearing that same story. They came from somewhere else. Okay, and it's been tweaked. This is their story. This is the story. Who's telling this story? Men. Men are telling this story. Now, that Sun Woman story, when she was telling that story, I wasn't sure if it was her story or Dr. Malachi York, because it sounded like a man's story. Because they stick to that same story. Women are not saying this. In fact, when you go back and look at your history, you see that you were already here. If you go back and look at your beginnings, you were already here. He doesn't come up until much later. You can see this in all. You can see it in all of them. Because I thought I was just seeing it in religion, but as I began to look through all of them, I started seeing this story. Especially when I was listening to Billy Carson, I was like, "Why this story seems so familiar?" And I started seeing it in other, not just his story, but seeing it in these other Pathanons as well. So they took that. That is the time that when they took over, when their ancestors took over. See, this is what they have to unpack too. They have to unpack this too. This is part of their shadow work. But some of them are so egocentric, and this is the only power that they do have, because women, we embodied all of that. He got you thinking now that he was a protector. Protect what? Protect what? What is he protecting? He can protect his resources, this stuff he feel like that makes him who he is, but protect what? They are not the first protectors. They are not the first anything. And some women do not want to accept that. We're so caught up in this nuclear fantasy of marriage. Even then, when we were with men, we would be with them for a year. It was no marriage. And then we decided to be with them for another year, we would. If we didn't, then we would say, hey, no love lost. I'm going my way. You go your way. We weren't marrying them like that. That doesn't take place until the patriarchs want to take ownership of these women. And they start, and in the Bible, they telling you that, this is so happened they got married. No, some of these women were married. They were forced because they overthrew them. That's why you have them too, having sex with these young girls. That's why we got a high rate of pedophilia, because they didn't care. They don't care. If we drop the age limit down to 12, many of them, they'll have sex with a 12-year-old. They don't care. They are here to mate. It is in them. They are, to me, it's just like, I remember my, and I'm going to end this video because I don't want to keep ranting on. But I can remember my mother's friend saying, those species. She always said the way she would say it, those species. She would call me a species. I was like, damn, why did she say that like that? The way she would say it. And now it makes so much sense. We're talking about a species. Stop looking at him as the same as you. He is not the same as us. I think that's our biggest mistake, because we are born with these empathetic abilities to empathize and to sympathize. I think that's one of our problems that gets us caught up. I think that's got caught up at first. Our ancient mother trying to do something nice, trying to, be a healer and nurture and help this species, and bam, they flip the table over on her. But it is important for you to understand them as a species. It is important for men to understand. And I think they do know, because the way Billy Carson was breaking that down and the way that they present themselves in history, they already know they're a species unto themselves. And they will treat you that way. Their relationship starts out good at first. And then you find out that you got to teach him some things that he is just not in touch with. And he either wants to evolve or doesn't want to evolve. So the best thing to do is to look at them as a species, not as your equal. That's your problem, right? That's one of our problems right there. Stop look, because they don't see you as their equal. They have been trying to see you as their subordinate. Get that in your mind right now, women. When you're talking to them, many of them, I'm not saying all of them like that, but many of them, when you are in relationships with them and speaking to them, many of them look at you like a subordinate. They don't look at you like they're equal because they have not been programmed to look at you that way. Everything in society tells him that he's better than you, that he's more than you. So you're going to have to understand too, you don't look at him as your equal. Just the way he's looking like he's above you, you're going to have to look at him like, because he is the one who's subordinate and you have to treat him that way. You have to treat him that way. You have to treat him like he's subordinate because he is. And he's unaware of it. And I think the more that we treat them like that, the more they come back to their natural state. Are they going to like it? Hell no, they ain't going to like it. But who got the real power? They got you thinking they got the penis is not the real power. That is an outverted vagina. That's what the penis is. It's an outverted vagina. You ask me, it is a irregular vagina. It's irregular. Born on the outside. That is the body they wanted to take on. That speech and that spirit, I don't know. But that's what that is. And once you start looking at it from that perspective and looking at his mind, some of their mind, most of their mind has some type of genetic glitch in it. But Ken, because he's an XY, you're XX, you have more genetics that's compatible and conducive to this planet than he does. So if that Y is broke off like that, he is missing genetic material that is going to cause him to think defective. It's going to affect him psychologically. Now, are they aware of that? I don't know. But when I go over this book in the cosmic, in the Great Cosmic Mother, with the things that this lady was saying, and the psychologist speaking on men's mind, they are quite aware that they are defective in their thinking. Psychologically, they know they're defective in their thinking, which makes sense of why they would choose the bear instead of the man. Because they know something is terribly wrong with their genetic coding. Are they going to admit that? Probably not. But you kind of see that go on in that book. And how we know, for all we know, they do have this stuff written down somewhere and we just don't have it. They probably do have this information written down somewhere and we just don't know anything about it. You know, so you have to think. You have to think, beloved. You have to think. Because these, you know, this war has been waged against you for thousands of years. And racism was only a cover-up for the real issue. It's only a cover-up for the real issue. The issue is that they need these women to keep bringing these souls in through these portals for these physical bodies so they can use for whatever. They work, their companies, their business, their whatever. And without women, they ain't gonna let you know that without the women, they ain't got no show to run. Because they can't replicate themselves. And they've been trying with this artificial humans and stuff like that. They've been trying, but I don't think they have gotten it totally perfected yet. Because if they did, they wouldn't need us. And that's really where he wants to get to. He wants to get to the point where he can replicate without, and there's something he wanted to avoid the organic, divine, cosmic, feminine so much. He wants to get to a point where he can replicate himself, where he doesn't need a woman, whatever this species is. That's really where we're headed to. That's what Terminator was about. They don't want to use the woman for that. But yet this woman has to birth this, like the woman who wrote the book, she had to birth this male to go in and stop this. This the way they think. These machines and all this stuff. When we were constructing pyramids and constructing all these ancient buildings that you see today, and we had these ancient bells and things like this. When we had that stuff up, it was for the ecological and spiritual evolution for the planet. It had nothing to do with trying to dominate the planet. No, it had everything to do with us growing, evolving. All of us was included in this. It had nothing to do, it is crazy how they redone this. If you look at all the architecture, it was sacred architecture. It was spiritual to help this planet to draw in certain energies. And now they have flipped the script. I don't know what type of energy they're bringing in on this plane now to keep it the way it is. I think it's a lot of Saturn energy that they have been able to manipulate it that way. A lot of Saturn and Mars energy. That's just my take on it. I could be wrong, but I'm definitely onto something and correct about this this being a divine feminine planet. And as this thing cook over and the birth rates drop, women, get yourself together. Get into self-defense classes. Get in, what else I want to say? Get your economic structure together. Get your passports. Probably learn some survival skills. A lot of us. So, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it is sure marking the era for it. With that stuff going on with Trump, that stuff going on with, what's his name? Pedo. What's his name? He dropping out the race. He's dropping out of that. So get ready, because they really want to push this 2025. I don't know how bad the birth rates are, but we already know what's going on in Korea. We know the passport board men are going over trying to find them women, because we just not, some of us not having it. I don't know how far the birth rate has dropped. You even have some countries trying to get people to come in there. So I don't know. They're not letting us know. They probably won't let us know to the last minute, but it has to be very low if you enforce abortion laws like that, forcing women to have children, even when they don't want to. There's got to be something going on there. So just stay informed. Stay informed. Because I didn't think it could happen at first. I was like, that ancestors, that can't happen. I mean, really? Because I don't see that happen. That's like, girl, child, we didn't see it either, but it happened. It happened. And then it just went on and on and on. That's what that slave, who do you think the first slaves was? If you're going to take over a planet, and they learned this through patriarchy. When they came in and took over Americas, they're telling you came from Africa. And see, I think they did that too. That was a thing that they already tried on us. I think they have already tried that psychological conditioning. I think patriarchs have already tried that to reprogram our new generation. But they tell you, oh, you come from Africa. Oh, we got you from Africa on some slave ships. But no, They enslaved the population that was there and then told them they was from somewhere else, the new generation. After they eliminated the older generation, then they told the new generation, oh, you're from somewhere else. So where did you get this idea from? So they like to say they got these ideas from, you know, this person or this person, but these ideas, these are the military strategies that they practice on us. They practice it again. They practice on the matriarch culture. They practice that where they took that over and took over those women and all that stuff. You have to, just like they tell you in the Bible, you have to program them that they evil. They programmed us that we evil. They programmed us that we supposed to serve men. They programmed us that we supposed to have sex with them anytime they want to. They program we ain't supposed to enjoy sex. You have to program them to do that. And who is the most of the programming that's going on for in that Bible? Women. It's not later till it becomes a race thing. But the programming is for women. Because again, we were spiritually connected to this planet. So in order to do that, you have to take over the religion and spiritual practices and then teach that generation of women who's already connected to the planet that they're not connected to God, and God don't want to talk to you, and he don't like your cycle, even though your cycle is the very thing that connects you with this planet. But they're gonna tell you, now God don't want to talk to you. See how he cursed you, and see he cursed the serpent, and see women, y'all are seductive with your bodies and all that type of stuff. They have to totally reconvince you. So the first programming went on with women. And they just went on, they used it further. They further on, oh, this worked with the women, so we're going to use this again in other cultures that we dominate. So first they had to dominate the religion, our spiritual practice first, turn it into a man religion, and then make us look like we were the scum of God, like he don't want nothing to do with us. We're just nothing but vessels. We're just empty vessels, just nothing but a vessel. When really I'm a walking spiritual portal. I'm a gateway into the physical realm. You have, and he has made himself a gateway. The shit is so, boy, I get so mad every time I talk about this shit. They are perverted. Whoever did this, they perverted. And if they still continuing this with all the common sense they have and looking at biology and science, you just want to be messed up like that. You just are egocentric, and you are, something is wrong with you. It's too much knowledge and information out here about women's bodies and minds now for men to be stuck on stupid the way they is about how they view women in a negative aspect. It's too much information. Now you don't like women. You're perverse. And you're the one, hey baby. Hey from Trinidad. Shamsuddin. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But you just want to be messed up. You want to abuse women and children. Because the men in that era, even when they began to take over the matriarchs, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of men that wasn't going down with that. They was like, hell no, this been in the forgetting. That's my mother. They knew how sacred that was. It was a lot of men like, hell no, we don't want to do that. Now it was even some priests that didn't want to do that. They didn't want to throw over the divine feminine. Like I told you, it took them thousands of years to do that, because we understood the ecological system to this planet as women and as men. Some of them did. Now, not all men was going, a lot of them fought back. That's why you'll have some of these men that are perfectly, they perfectly know the divine feminine. They have no problem with that. They have no problem with women moving about the way they need and want to. They understand that. Some of them, and then you have some men that's feminine be like, hey, dude, you out of line. Like, she is the creator. Like, what you talking about, dude? They understand that. You had some men that understood that, because this is the only way that they could ascend in the mysteries. If you didn't understand this and could not embody this energy, you could ascend in the mysteries. I was looking at the the tarot card Kabbalah last night. And I said, what is interesting? I said, what's interesting about this? What's interesting about this? These tarot cards set up in the Kabbalah diagram, instead of naming the virtues in Kabbalah. I don't know if many of you are familiar with Kabbalah, because I studied the esoteric and occult. So when I started looking at that, at the very top where the crown was the Empress. And up under her was the High Priestess. I said, you know what? I've never thought about it that way. I've never looked at it. And the Emperor was at the bottom, but the Empress was on top. I said, oh my God, you will see that too. I think Shekinah, when you look at Kabbalah, that is the divine energy that we're reaching towards, to embody, to evolve in consciousness. This is part of your evolution. So they're telling you that the divine feminine, even in religion, the Holy Spirit, is the elevation that elevates your spiritual growth. You elevate. That's the point that you're trying to get to. That sort of consciousness. And if you haven't got there, you're still sitting at that lower phase of that Kabbalah chart, at those energies. You can't excel until you get up to that divine feminine, embodied it. Again, because this is the original organic state of this planet. That's why they tell you to connect with Earth, connect with Earth. Are you really connecting with Earth, though? Are you really connecting with Earth, though? Because if you was really connected with Earth, you would sit your ass down and you would know she's divine feminine. If you was really connected with nature, you would see all the animal offsprings are following their mothers. You would also see that some insects even unalive their mate after they're pregnant. This is in nature. You will understand your place in nature if you saw this. But we don't do that. We let them give us a nuclear family. It don't even seem to be normal to be married. And maybe because I'm a Sagittarius, I don't know. That's not normal for us. That's why we're unhappy. We're not staying in these marriages long. Men are suppressing their sexuality. They are sexually suppressed because they have not interfaced with the divine feminine. Women are sexually suppressed. We're being sexually suppressed because of somebody else's psychology. That's what's going on here. And these men that don't want to get it together, because I sit there and watch Dr. Omar Johnson tell these young men, and it's the young men that scare me. Some of the old ones too, which they've been like that. I expect them to be all messed up in the head, but the young ones, he was telling them young men, the history of women and the psychology and how they need to really do their work. They look mad. They were like, no. They look like, no, man, we gonna do that because we like where we at. It's just patriarchy, just like racism. They don't see it. It's work for them. So why the hell would I see something that works for me and gives me power over women and children? Why would I want to give that up? Same thing with white people. Why would I want to give that up and they give me power over everybody else? They give me first. I come first. Why would I want to it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And you will have men. That's why I said, look at your relationships. Look at your relationships. What's going on in it? Because when I started to heal, I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. Even though I had wrote my book, even though I have had these talks with the ancestors, I remember I was in a group. We were talking about the subject of relationships in our group study, in our healing group. And the more I broke down codependency, because you need to look at codependent relationships, because that's what you're in. You're in a toxic, parasitic relationship. They have created these parasitic relationships for women to be servants to men. That's how it was set up. And a lot of us don't know how to get out of it. A lot of us are getting out of it. So when I got to looking at codependency, and I was unpacking it, because all this is psychological as well, and a lot of these other women was looking at it. I look, and they probably was thinking what I was saying, but they didn't say it. When I looked over at my husband, I'm like, I don't even think I want to be married to you. I don't even think this is right. Something spiritual started to awaken up in me when I started looking at codependency and seeing how parasitic this relationship was. I'm like, what the fuck? And I expressed this to the women in my group therapy. I was like, hey, I don't know about you guys, but when I did this exercise and I was asking these questions and going through these questions and really diving deep, I don't even think I want to be married anymore. Now, because you have to look at why you're getting in these relationships, what roles you play, And again, if you want to unpack that, you can get my book, Heal Thyself. I have those exercises in there. But when I broke that down, that started to making me look at things in a different way. It started to help me see how my energy was being drained and how I was being used. And so I started taking back some of my energy and start focusing in on me instead of him. Because what we have been told is that we're supposed to focus our energy, women, in on our husband and children. That is not true. That's why we be depressed. We be in postpartum depression. We give up so much of ourselves, our lives, our hobbies, and everything to raise our children and support our husband. That is not true. The reason why this happens is because we're used to living in communities. Women are used to birthing and raising children in communities where we all were mothers of each other's children. Men were not in this at all. This is something that we made a choice to do. If we had children, we had a big community where we raised children in. Men were not, we made a choice to be pregnant and have this child. You'll see that elephants are a good example of that. They watch after each other's children. They live in a community where that child is everybody's child. They'll watch after each other's children. This is natural among nature. It was a common thing. And hi, Trisha, we knew the medicines, we knew all the herbs and all of those things, how to take care of each other. Women, and that it should be that way, women taking care of women. And because you're not in these communities anymore and you're taking on all this responsibility for yourself, you are drained, you are tired. Now, women was coming to this realization too. I want to say like in the 50s or 60s, because they was having all these children. Most of these women were having 9, 10 children. These men were the only one could work outside of the home. And so a lot of them, they were talking about, especially white women, how they were so tired. They couldn't keep up doing the laundry, cooking dinner, raising children, all that stuff. So they start putting them on this sort of, what is it now? They start putting them on some type of drug that gave them more energy. It was sort of like a speed. It was sort of like a speed that would give them more energy and help them go through the day. But they start, every time that we say there's something going on, they give us pills when we start having a natural reaction to this environment. What is a psychological illness? It is a reaction, a psychological illness, a reaction that you're having to a infected environment. You have been infected mentally by the environment. So it makes your mind sick because you're sick. If you're in a sick environment, what you gonna think? If somebody is walking around with the flu and everybody got the flu and you walking around, and what you think gonna happen to you? You're gonna get the flu. Same thing. If everybody's thinking the same way and telling you the same thing, but your body is going against this, your natural body is going against this. That's what's happening now, especially with this work thing. Because when that COVID's like, we're not finna go to work for y'all, and y'all doing all this kind of stuff. Your natural body, your mind, because this your natural body gonna try to correct itself. So it's gonna get depressed. It's gonna be trying to figure out what's wrong, where is this coming from. And now they got everybody on this damn medicine and shit. Most of us have high anxiety because it's a reaction to a sick psychological environment. Shamans knew this. Shamans know that. The old ancient way, we knew this. We knew how stress and this type of stuff could affect the mind and body. That's why we live in a state of abundance and prosperity. You didn't have to worry about food, none of that stuff. That stuff was plentiful. That's what our ancient mothers was working on: agriculture, building more food, having more access to food. Until men took that over and started genetically modifying the damn food and the animals. But that's what we were working on. We were working on that. That was our work. That was our job to keep the planet in ecological balance. That's what we did. And now you got these fools out here. These species ain't even from this planet. Because if you was from this planet, you wouldn't even be doing the shit that you're doing. I'm telling the truth. Women don't want to do that kind of stuff. We don't want to go out and blow up shit. We don't want to do that. We don't want to dominate and take over folks and all that stuff. We want to see how we can work together. That's how women run families. They make sure their children get along. They want to make sure how everybody can get together. If we can't get along, let's move away from each other. Go over there on your side of the land where your folks is. If you can't get along. If you can't get along, y'all just go ahead and fight it out in a game or whatever. And then after that, we don't want to hear no more about it. That's the end of it. Y'all get it out your system. But as far as going to war and shit like that, we didn't do that. That is a man that comes from somebody who don't come from this planet and don't give a damn about this planet. Because if you gave a damn about this planet, you wouldn't create nuclear weapons to blow up the damn planet. Make it make sense to me. And I can't wait till the divine feminine come back and spank that ass because they need it. Men need that. They have become, these men, I'm not talking about all men, they need that. They need it. They need a hard time. They understand pain better than they understand love. You have to give them that pain because that's the only thing that's going to grow them. You can't do that because this species is not from here. You know, they not from here. I can't wait to drop this book review because this book review going to be so long, you know. I'm going to try to make it fun for you so you won't have to just look at the book when I'm doing it. So I might throw some pictures in there. But I'm telling you the absolutely true, sister. And when I first saw this, I think it was in 2015 when I wrote that book, I was just fired. I was like, they are leaving this out. And I know Omar Johnson. I know that Phil Valentine. I know damn well if you know all this other shit about Black history, about your history, about men. Y'all done dub Dr. What's his name? Redundico, whatever his name is, the black man, black historian. You know all this. And yeah, I even read it in the book. They skipped over this in the book, how Black women, prophetess, were being kidnapped, were being abducted. They skipped over this. We're talking about our Black counterparts, Black men. They skipped over our whole damn story. Why? Why? Why did you skip over that? Because patriarchy, it posts your ass up. It makes you look good. Same thing with white people. They're not going to tell black people that black Egyptians were really black. No, we're not going to tell you that. We're going to say they were white. Same damn thing. You're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. And then someone say, you mad, hey, you mad. No, I'm just about tired of your funky pair of lips saying any damn thing. That's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of you propping yourself up on the great mother, and you wouldn't be nothing without her. None of y'all, none of us wouldn't be here without her. None of us. And then you will sit there and put her in the background to make you look good, like you about some shit, and you ain't did nothing but pillage, destroy, rape. That's all you've done. That's all you've done in that Bible. That Bible is nothing about men falling short of his morality. And even in that story of Esther, you see this king. Go read the story of Esther. Esther, this king was trying to find out which woman he wanted through sex. Go read that story, Esther. This is about her sexual encounter with the king. This is what was going on in there. This is what was going on in the Bible. They said Esther got to her knees and they was telling her what the king liked. What you think that story is about? It's all about him whoring around. It's about his whoredom. It's making him look good. And then, but when the woman, her sexual freedom, she's the one, the whore. But actually, he started out as the whore. Look at it. They have really, and then teach it from a perspective that makes you look like you're a devil to God, that women are a devil to God, and the devil will use the woman faster than he will use the man. And you come in here being a damn devil. Make it make sense. It's like your mind, and then the more, for me, the more healing I do, the more I work on myself, because your healing journey is your spiritual journey. You awaken to so many things when you start to heal. Get your mind right, because your mind been twisted by this bullshit. I'm telling you, your mind has been twisted by this bullshit, and I done told you. When you get your mind right, you start to unpeel this, and you start to see these spirits, these different personalities they have created in people, and how psychologically sick people is, because this was the shamans knew this knowledge. They knew, when somebody had a psychological disruption going on with them and how they needed to go in to the astral realm and correct it. I do a lot of that. And the more you look at that, they say you crazy, the angrier you get. Because somebody is, you may not know, they may not know that they're doing it, but somebody is coming from somewhere to push this stupidity. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. The tired you get, it just the angry you get. And the more we talk about this, the spiritual people, then we come awaken. Y'all want to try to make us think we crazy. We don't know what the hell we talking about. The more conscious we get, the more we ascend in our consciousness, the more crazy society try to make you, because we're not embodying those programs anymore. And I saw that at my job. I saw that you telling me to do this, that. Look, I don't live for this job. This is just what this job is. I clock in, I clock out. I don't think about you when I'm gone. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not none of that on this job. That's not what you're paying me for. You're trying to drain my energy. This is it feels energy draining. It feels like you're doing some shit you ain't got no business doing. If you just really look at this job, that's why you don't want to go. That's why you don't want to go to work, because you know deep down inside that your energy is being manipulated and used for you don't know what. We don't know what these corporations are doing. Now, I'm not trying to talk, I'm not trying to talk down or look bad at the world. But what I am looking at is the way that we have society set up with these men in charge. And the only thing that can become of it is destruction, because that is the way their species is designed. You're looking at an XY chromosome that is missing material. It is a reason why he needs the divine feminine. Some of them know that. If they want to get wise and if they want to get wisdom, who do they go to? They're going to go to their mama. You can go to your dad if you want to, but more chances than not, if he ain't got his stuff together, you probably going to repeat a lot of his patterns. But the mother is the teacher. The mother is the nurturer. They can make you feel insignificant all they want to. But they wouldn't be here without us because, again, they can't replicate themselves. And that's what this is about. This is about their war with us. They really want to get out of that. Whatever this species is, they either want to control the woman's portal or they want to get out of having to use the woman's portal to recreate themselves. We have already seen the cloning. We already talked about all that stuff. What is this for? Who's doing it? The man is doing it. Women have already mastered parthenogenesis because we can do it. Who has not mastered that? Men have not mastered that. This is why science is focused on that. Being able to use, that's what slavery was all about. Using people's energy to dominate and create this false wealth for themselves. They even printed off this paper money. They even have these celebrities and stars. They've created these false realities for us. They false, they're not real. They're not real. This is not even real. Because if people decided right now we don't want to live in a house no more, we start building our own houses and all that stuff and growing our own food, and we decide that, oh, we don't want to do politics no more. We're just going to govern each other. We'll come up with our own government, go back to our original government, and stop listening to them and all that. Them people go batshit crazy. They'll go running because they don't have your attention, your energy anymore. They don't have your mind anymore. And anybody who has talked like this, they have got rid of. The revolutionaries that talk like, they get rid of them because they don't want you thinking outside this matrix they created for you. Oh, no. We need you to stay right here in this box because we got to control what's going on because this is what makes our world real. This is what makes man world real. This is what make it function. We have to have these people involved. But what happens to the narcissist when you don't listen to him anymore? What happens to the narcissist when you, that's why we got to have epidemic of narcissists, because this society, this is the mental construct of the society. It's narcissism, Machiavellism. So what happens when you turn your back on the narcissist? What happens? He dies, he goes away. He doesn't have any power anymore. He might even throw a tantrum. That's what you're dealing with. When you're looking at the government and religious, you're looking at a form of narcissism on a bigger scale. That's all it is, beloved. That's why we have a high epidemic of it. Now, if you turn your back away from it and don't give it no attention, he's going to go crazy. What am I doing? They're going to do anything to get your attention. Why do you think they have all these distractions and all this stuff? Why do you think they have that? Because they are consuming your energy. Either through work, even through these jobs. Why do you think they keep the minimum wage right low? They don't let you really make no money to get ahead. Because they're consuming your energy. It's not even the pay. It's not even about the pay. Because I think they can pay everybody and everybody a good salary and everybody can live good. It's not about that. It's about consuming your energy and keeping your frequency in a survival state. That's what it's about. It's consuming that energy. Now, if they paid you a lot and, paid you like they supposed to, and you can get out your needs, they wouldn't have to worry about you. You wouldn't be disgruntled. You wouldn't have any problem with you. But they feed off negativity. What do narcissists do? Feed off negativity. They keep it like that on purpose. And if you are doing good or something on their job or whatever, it's gonna be some obstacles there. It's just like, it is almost like the Matrix. You'll have these people who are Mr. Smiths. You'll just see their mind just change. You'll be like, what the hell wrong with them? I've seen it. I have seen it. And, you know, I think it's spiritual too. I think it is spiritual too. Because if you set this up, this false God up, and all this stuff, and you need people energy to exist, what deity did y'all set up to put y'all in charge? Because you see this thing of the fallen angels, this is really about them coming from outer space. That's the same story in the Bible. Fallen angels from heaven coming here, disrupting humanity. That's their story. You hear that same story, Billy Carson. It's the same story. It hasn't changed. It's just coming from different people. It's the same damn story. They're the fallen angels. So, I mean, what? They're just draining our energy. They have to keep it that way because it's feeding something. Because you have enough money. Y'all ain't doing the print off damn paper. Everything. We have abundance of everything. Why do you have to have some people here, some people here, some people here, and some people here? How come everybody can't be up here? Everybody, it's enough for everybody. What are you getting out of keeping it like that? See, these are the questions we don't ask ourselves. We don't ask ourselves. We don't ask ourselves these questions. And I refuse to at that job because I wouldn't let them drain my energy like that. You know, again, it's about being assertive and putting boundaries up. They didn't like that. How dare she have a banner up? You know, I applied for this job. This ain't slavery. I wanted this job. This ain't slavery. This, you don't get a bang for your buck and have me doing extra shit. No, you do not. You're not finna misuse my energy like that. That makes them unhappy. And then when I start bringing up, okay, so what you're doing is really mental abuse. Because that's a thing now. See, they don't want to hear that, oh, that's not good. That's what this is. Because I don't want to do what you're asking me to do, you want to emotionally and mentally abuse me. And this is very hard to prove. And you guys know that. That's why you do it. See, this is how I talk to them. Now, they do either one thing. They either get the hell away from me and let me do my job because I do it well. I follow all their rules and, you know, regulations. I do their job, either get the hell away from me and leave me alone, be like, wow, I don't even know what to say about her. She mean or whatever. It's not that I'm mean. I'm not nice. I'm not stupid. That was nice means stupid. I'm not going to let you use my energy like that. You paid me to use my energy like this, and that's what I'm using it for. You don't get no bang for that. No bang for your buck. Or they either, they'll try to push you out the door. They'll try to push you out because they want you. This is the culture. They create a culture of dysfunction on these jobs. That's how they operate, out of dysfunction. I've seen it. I've experienced it. And that was my last job. I was like, you know what, ancestors, I can't even do this no more. You can't be healed and deal with sick ass people. You can't, because their job is to make you sick. They're gonna make you sick again, having to deal with them. You're gonna have to be seeing a therapist or a psychologist as you heal and do your shadow work, and you have to interface it. It is so, you know, because you start seeing this sickness and how they be trying to manipulate your energy. You can't heal to be in no sick place. Them folks will make, some of these folks will make you sick again on these jobs where you be at. You really start paying attention to your energy. You'll have to come up with something to help you protect your energy when you come in contact with these people. Do they know they're aware of they're doing it? I think they're so wounded, they don't even see that they are using other people's energy to power them. You have some people that can't be alone. They can't be alone. They get depressed. They have to be feeding off somebody's energy. That's what codependence is all about. If you feel like you can't live without nobody, you always got to be around. You need to check that. You might be a little vampire-ish. Maybe a little parasitic. You can't be alone. You got to always be around people all the time. You got to always. You probably want to check that, because you haven't refined your own energy. You don't know how to sit in your own power. You don't know how to show up for yourself. And you probably misusing other people's energy as well. And then crossing their boundaries. All this come together. It ain't separate. I don't care how many candles you burning. I don't care what you doing. What are you doing if you ain't doing this? Because you ain't going to be able to, if your mind ain't right, your soul ain't right. Your mind ain't right, your soul ain't right. I can't make it no plainer than that. I even started seeing it in my tarot card readings. Everybody want a tarot card reading. They want to know, oh, what's coming up in my future? What's coming up about this? And then the tarot cards are like, okay, they need to do this. If they want to do this, they have to heal that. Don't nobody want to hear that. They don't want to hear that they got to heal to get what they want. They just want the way they have been told is fantasy. Everything supposed to magically appear to me, and I shouldn't have to do any work. I shouldn't have to do any character work or heal or any of that. There's nothing wrong with me. Yes, it is. I start seeing it come up in my tarot cards, and then I have had some people come back for the same reading, and nothing has changed. They be like, well, how come it ain't changed? Because you haven't changed. You haven't done the work. You haven't done anything, and you come back and get the reading for the same thing, and you have not done anything that I've asked you to do to help you evolve and get a different result. You think it's just supposed to happen without your participation. Now, there's good things that come up in people's reading. For the most of it, what the tarot is about how to master your energy and how these energies are playing out in your life and how to take advantage of those energies and how you can do it. Most of all, heal, shift the way you're thinking about things. That's most of what, because the tarot is nothing but archetypes of the psyche. So whatever mental energy that you're operating out of, the cards are going to reflect that. That's what it is. It's psycho-spiritual as well. But a lot of people that don't want it, they want a feel good, fast, something. We done been through so much trauma. We got so much intergenerational trauma, not just from racism, but humanity as a whole. We got so much healing to do. How you think you're going to avoid pain, and it took pain to get you here? It took pain to get you here. So you don't think that you're going to have to unpeel and heal and grieve and do some unpacking and go through some pain to get on the other side of this? You ain't no better than anybody else. Neither is me. We have to do work. We have to do work. We have to do integrity work. We have to look at our shadow side. We have to look at the parts of ourselves we don't like and love every part of those that and learn how to love that. We have to look at how our parents raised us up. Did they raise us with poor boundaries to be pushovers? Did they even teach us how to emotionally regulate ourselves? Did we have good modeling when it came to expressing our emotions? Some of us didn't have that. All that plays together. All that comes together. Because you got to know what these emotions, when they rise up in you, you got to know if there's coming from you or it's coming from someone in your space. And if you don't know your own emotions, and if you don't own your own mind, you can take on somebody else's energy. And how would you even know if you're getting an intuitive signal if you don't know the difference? How do you know, when a memory pop in your mind, how do you know if this is a memory or if that is spirit showing you, giving you a message? Because you haven't sat down long enough with your mind to know how your mind operates. All this stuff is spiritual. You can't have one without the other. You cannot. I love to see people try. I love to see people try though. And I sat there for a long time doing readings with the angels because I work with them a long time. There are angelic beings. Yes, they are. I have seen them with my own eyes. I've seen them. They are real. They are real. They are absolutely real. But when I kept doing my tarot reading, they was like, you need to heal. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You need to heal. You need to heal. You need to heal. I just kept getting that message. And then I started running to ancestors and really start getting in. And some of you have been on my journey. If you've been on my channel a while, you understand what I'm saying. So I was like, what? They was like, yeah. And then during unpacking racism, because that's all the time I was here, now unpacking racism. I'm told they just like, yeah, you got intergenerational trauma in your bloodline. Yeah, that part. Yeah, you're still acting out some of that intergenerational trauma. Me? I'm acting out. They were like, yeah, you still acting out a lot. You're acting out a lot of that generational trauma. I'm like, what? I thought I was doing something. I was doing my tarot reading. I was helping people. I was like, yeah, you're doing all that, but you ain't healing that. It's still in the bloodline. Then I start unpacking my stuff, looking at my family tree. Now, there's a lot of spiritual gifts in my bloodline. Don't get me wrong. I can see the spiritual gifts through my grandmother, through my mom, through my sister, and me. I can see our spiritual gifts. But that generational trauma was up in there, baby, in full swing. In full swing. And I had to heal it. And I grieved and didn't even know I needed to grieve. I had to look at my family from a whole different perspective. I was no longer that child anymore with this, this fantasy family. My family had wounds. They had wounds, and they were passing these wounds down. And I was wounded. I was abused. But I had normalized it because I saw this not only in my family, but I saw it in other people's family too. We just normalized it until I start healing. And and you start to look at your family totally different. You start to realize who's really your family, who's really rocking with you in your family, and who's not rocking with you in your family. And you will have to start picking that garden. You will have to choose the family that you want to, have relationships with. The same thing occurs when you start doing ancestral work. Some family just don't like you. All your family don't like you. They don't mean you well, a lot of them. Some of them don't. So you have to find the ancestors that will work with you. If they didn't like you when they was living, chances are they're not going to like you when they pass over either. So some of us are interfacing with family we have no business interfacing with. Some of us are not doing the intergenerational trauma, not just from racism, but for trauma on humanity as a whole, especially that matriarch culture, because there was so much trauma that went against humanity there. You have a lot of palm color people. They're trying to go back to their indigenous roots. They're trying to go back to their oldest roots to heal. They're trying to use some of this to heal, which they need to. I want to heal too if my ancestors were, were serial killers. Because that's basically what there was when you kill black people. What do you call a serial killer? A person that like killing in a particular way, a particular person. So they were serial killers. Yeah, they have to unpack that. I can't imagine the psychology and stuff they have to unpack. But then we also collectively have to unpack what was happening to the divine feminine. See, there's so much shadow work that needs to be done. This is a global thing. What was the name of that movie? And people they had replicas of themselves. And I was talking about how there was shadow work. And the girl, what is the name of what's her name? Lapita, whatever. She plays in the show. Somebody put it in the comments. What is the name of that show? I can't even think of the name of it now. But anyway, put it in the comments if you remember that movie that came now. I think Jason Peele wrote that movie. He was the producer of that movie. And Lapita, what's her name? She played in that movie. Us. That's the name of it. Us. That is about shadow work. Her shadow self. That's what that's about. And it was a global thing. That was a global thing. The duplicates of these people. That's basically about shadow work. Their shadow selves was coming after them. Because they weren't tending to it. They wasn't taking care of it. So now their shadow work manifested in reality to them. That's what that really, psychological. I was like, oh my God, this show is about shadow work. Psychologically on the psych level, because that's how I think. When I look at these shows, and I guess the more spiritual you become, and the spiritual archetypes, and the esoteric meanings and occult meanings, the more you'll start to see it in these movies. They play with you. They playing with you in some of these movies. They're psychologically playing with some of us. But that movie Us, that's what that's about. That movie Us. That's what that is about. And then you see that other show where the boy he with this white girl and they hypnotize him and he goes into the sunken place. That's basically what they did to women. To a lot of us, they didn't put us in the sunken place. We're in the sunken place. We're having a reaction to the environment. A lot of us are in the sunken place. So when you're looking at spirituality, and I know it is, you're having fun, you're learning things, but also understand that you are dealing with consciousness too. A lot of your ancestors, a lot of these deities, they are going to live in your consciousness, the psyche. And that's why I talk about shamanism and going to these different worlds, learning how to imagine going places. I even talked about some movies you can watch too, Jumpers, Peripheral. You can watch some of the movies. What's another movie they had on there with Leonardo DiCaprio? It's another movie with Leonardo DiCaprio when they're going in these different dreams and stuff and going in other people's consciousness. But this is all about consciousness. And if you can't, thank you, Chloe, but if you can't, if you are not, because this is all 5D, you've been told you this. And say, we got to get out of that. And women, you ought to know more, because a soul can't come into this reality without that. You are a walking spiritual portal. Okay? Your first grandmothers, your ancient mothers were the first shamans and psychologists that was interfacing astrally with the great mother. Now, some of them took mushrooms, some of them took psychoactive substances, some of them went into ecstatic dances and trances, whatever way you can get there. I don't care. Ayahuasca, I don't care. But until you have that experience, and you start going in these planes and start asking questions for everyday solutions, you're not going to believe it until you start trying it. And stop thinking that you're making it up. A lot of times we think we're making it up. But what you're doing, you are actually, let me put it this way, you are dreaming on purpose. You are asking that DMT, because we already have DMT inside of our brain. We already have thank you, Chloe. We already have DMT inside of our brain. And so the altered states help us access that. That's another reason why you have a physical altar. A physical altar is nothing but a representation of the altered consciousness. You're going there to alter your consciousness, to go into a higher consciousness. Spirituality is nothing but psychology. I would say super psychology. That's all psychology is. The more you know about your mind, and you know that this is not real. This ain't real. Your consciousness is inside of this operating. It needs to operate in to navigate this physical realm. But even when you pass away, your consciousness is still going to be there. That's why you see them trying to put a consciousness in another body. That's a big thing too. Scientists are trying to perfect, but they can't perfect that, because again, we women perfected that. We even knew what soul. We don't practice that, but we even know what soul we were bringing in here. We would do a divination to find out which soul is coming through and what their purpose was for coming through our portal. And then we knew too when we didn't want to bring a child here. We followed because it was in us. Some of us know that we don't need to bring certain children here by certain men. That's why abortions was a thing that was needed. Certain souls don't need to come through this portal until it's time. It's a gateway. We can send them back. We can send them back to the astral realm. That is a thing. I'm going to talk about that, and we're going to get deep into that in this Great Cosmic Mother book, too. I'm going to try to make it interesting for you. It's just a juicy book. Now, for the people that have joined me on Patreon, I've already posted the book over there. I posted the book over there for my members over there in Patreon. For those of the people that don't have the Great Cosmic Mother book, you can get it over there. And in fact, there's so many resources over there. I have posted spiritual resources, psychological resources, healing resources, healing sexual trauma, mental trauma, all sorts of trauma for women. It's so many resources I have put over there in Patreon. It's so many resources. I mean, you're going to find some of everything. And then this includes too, depending on what tier you get, this includes a free monthly reading or a counseling session as well if you join me over there on Patreon. That space is nothing but for healing the divine feminine. That's what that space is for. It is a space that's dedicated to helping women heal the divine feminine. So all sorts of information is going to be over there about the divine feminine. But I'm telling you, women, and especially women of color, protect yourselves. Get control of your portal, because they telling you that they don't mean nothing. But if it didn't mean nothing, why y'all coming up with all these abortion laws? Why you gonna make me have your baby? The fuck? Why? Why is that? If I'm not that important, why the hell do you want to have control over my anatomy? Instead of fixing yourself, you ain't making men get fixed. And then we got to track them down for child support and all this other shit. Are you crazy? You're not making men get fixed and none of this kind of stuff. This is on women. You better wake up. You better wake up because they've been doing this for a long time, controlling our bodies and anatomy. And that is what that Bible is for. And it will get to the point to they're going to go back to this Bible. Because see, that's what this church, they hold. That's why I say, why do they still got these churches and religions all around and we already know that this shit is fake? Why are they still operating? I never understood that. I don't understand that. And then get mad at the people that's woke, that's fake. Know that they're practicing it totally just out of order. It was never meant to be practiced that way. Why do we still got these church? Why? And the Pope then came out and said that this was wrong. He was wrong for doing what he was doing to indigenous people, to people of Wicca. He's already said this. Why are we still teaching this lie? Why haven't we did some religious reform? There should have been some reformation going on there. No, because the church and state is together. And I think what I've been told is they going to use that on women. These witch hunts, all that stuff, go to repeating itself because women don't want to work. We want to wake our ass up. History doomed to repeat itself because you don't want to wake your ass up. I'm in love with him. Oh, he did the best with me. Oh, he make the best choices. Oh, I just love me a man. Oh, they just so good for us. Oh, we need to keep that shit up. Keep that shit up. Keep it up. Keep it. It's a fantasy. That's all that shit is. Keep it up. We need men. We need protectors. We need. And this is the very person that is destroying the damn world. That's been pissing me off with some of these Stockholm syndrome women. And you don't even realize that you his first damn teacher. This is how far disconnected women are from themselves. Some of us are so disconnected from ourselves. We don't even know who we are as women, especially as women of color. I can't make it make sense. You make it make sense. You make it make sense. Because I can't make it make sense. And the more healing you do, the less you want to be involved in this world. I can see why now the older women in society, they call witches or whatever, they would move themselves out of society. They wouldn't even engage in society like that because they knew. They could see it. Now I see why those older women that were spiritual, they call witches or hags or whatever, they stayed outside of society doing their own thing. Because the more you heal and the more you come to yourself and you see how the patriarchs got this set up, the more you want to be engaged with sick ass people who is not willing to wake up. That's just, and I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean at all. I want the best for humanity, for all of us. And I wish I can come here and be kumbaya, but I can't. I have to tell the facts of what it is. I have to tell you what it is, and for you to prepare yourself, and for all of us to do our work. I'm not trying to man bash here, but men need to know who they are, and women need to know who they are. And then once we know that, and we know where we're naturally supposed to be, then we can start correcting some things. But until then, we got work to do. That's the only thing I can tell you, beloved. That's the only thing I can tell you. And I know this is an unpopular truth. Okay, I don't think nobody, I'm looking at my phone to see anybody. Y'all didn't order no readings or nothing today. So I wanted to let you know that all the readings, because I was just doing a special for $20 for a full moon reading tonight. I guess no one wanted a reading. But all the readings on the website are are 30% off. And I think it's options for payment plans too, if you're interested in that. What else is going on there? We have a lot of products and stuff on our website if you're interested in our products. And what is else? Something else is going on. Am I missing something? Because, I'm getting older. Y'all know I be forgetting sometimes. Yeah, I hope we'll be able to do it too. It will probably be the younger generations that coming in. Like, I think those souls that's coming in now are the older souls that was on this planet. Because that y'all got too much sense. A lot of y'all got too much damn sense. A lot of y'all got too much damn sense. Y'all be saying some of y'all be saying some profound stuff. And I be like, damn. I be like, damn, go on, girl. Some of y'all say some profound stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have a chance if this new generation tap into that power, we have a chance. Now, so some of these old people, they so stuck. They stuck in these religions and stuff. I really don't think it's going to be a lot of them involved in the transition. But the new ones that's coming in, I'm looking at y'all souls. Some of y'all souls come from older places, especially some of the women. They're coming from, it's like they've been here before. Like they're born with so much insight. A lot of them is born with so much insight. And you're seeing a lot of women too. A lot of us are starting to embody this divine feminine, and we're just coming right out telling you what it is. We really don't give a damn what the man gonna think or whatever. We're not gonna hide that from you any longer. We're telling you what it is, whether you accept it or not. So a lot of us are out here doing the great mother's work. You're gonna see much more of that go on because a lot of us, I think this is a great mother plan. She is creating a foundation for this younger generation to grow off of. You seen that too with racism. Like we have the revolutionaries, our revolutionaries like Malcolm X, all them, they like opened the foundation for us to really enjoy some of the freedoms that we have today. You're going to see that with the great mother too. You're going to see a lot of us out here doing it, doing the work. That's all you're going to probably hear me talk about on this channel a lot, because this is the era that we're going into. Women is the focus on women, because the next revolution, the next shift we're going to see is going to be with women. You're on the chopping block. So you think it's about races? This ain't about no race. It's about women. It's about controlling your portal, controlling the souls over here. It's about controlling that divine feminine spirit that we embody. And we getting back into it. We're going back to Wicca. We're going back to the ancient practices of our ancestors. We're going to access that energy again. So it will be on this planet again, whether they like it or not. That's what that eclipse was about. That eclipse brought in that energy. That's what you see a lot of exposing that's going on with these men that's abusing women and children. That's the divine feminine. All that is divine feminine. All this climate change that you see going on with Mother Earth, divine feminine. All this is nature trying to reverse itself. Why you think the women say they're not having any children anymore? Because that's set up in the cosmic sphere of nature correcting itself. It's just like us when we start nesting and getting ready for that baby. At a certain time of the month, we start getting ready. There's nothing you can do to stop us from getting ready for that baby. This happened between the 6 and 7 month of pregnancy. You got to start getting ready for that baby. Something just pushes you. You start getting everything ready, clothes, everything the baby needs. Same thing is going to be done when women don't want to have children. No, we're not bringing no children up in here. They're going to really start thinking about it. I don't want to do that because this child going to be exposed to this. Because again, this is the divine feminine intellect. They're going to be tapping into that. So they're not going to be doing that. And that's going to be pissing a lot of people off. They might even go into these artificial people. Then they might start using more artificial people because women ain't gonna be doing it. Now, I recommend that you go watch that movie, Children of Men. It's an old movie. I think it came out like about 20 years ago. It's a really good movie. And in this movie, everybody is at war. I mean, people are warring. I mean, they are warring against each other. It's it's just hectic. The way it look in Palestine right now, and it actually looked like the movie was like over there. It's just, it was so many wars. It wasn't that many children. Like I said, the oldest person, the youngest person on the planet, he was like 25 years old. No one had been born after him. And then this black girl, she gets pregnant, and everybody's like, what the hell? And then they see her with this baby, and everybody just stopped. Everybody just stopped, just like, oh my gosh, she got a baby. We haven't seen a baby in 25 years. It like stops everybody from fighting, and soldiers are trying to help her, get through everything. It's a trip. It's really good. It's a good show. And I had to watch it 2 or 3 times. I was like, what is this telling me? Because I was like, why would they write that? What subliminally am I missing? But it makes so much sense now that I see all these shifts and events and changes that's going on now. That movie now applies to now, just like The Handmaid's Tale now applies to now. But all these shifts and changes. They always tell you, they always have to subtly tell you. I guess they have to condition us before they do it. I don't know why they do it, but you pretty much get a whiff of what's going to happen in the future in some of these shows. Okay, you guys, I've kept you long enough. I've yapped long enough about what's going on the channel, about this next book review that I'm dropping. Really juicy book. You don't want to miss it, women. You don't want to miss it. And it may be a long book review because I had almost marked up that whole book. The Great Cosmic Mother, I almost marked up that whole. I was like, oh my God, I have to stop marking this whole book of this. I'm just gonna have to read the whole damn book to my YouTube channel. It's so much juicy stuff. And if you're in the Patreon group, you get a chance to get the book yourself. You go through it yourself, and you just gonna be like, you thought the Sybil's was something, that book review was something. She includes that information and then some more information on top of that. And I would just, everything that I said is in that book. I said, and all this stuff was, that divine insight was put in my spirit. And I'm trusting the ancestors, so I'm saying it. But it's another thing to go back and watch somebody, read some, that the answer, read what the ancestors have put in your spirit. And you reading here, it's I don't know. It just did something to me, just put chills on me. I said, oh my God, this is really real. That Nancy's like, yeah, this is really real. This is why we've been telling you to put it in your spirit. You're not imagining things. You're not talking outside of your neck. This is really so. And that's just how they deal with me. They would tell me things first. And then I start running into information to confirm what they told me. I don't know why they deal with me like that. I don't know why. I be wanting to know stuff firsthand before they tell me. But the ancestors do not work with me that way. They do not. And it's kind of scary for me because I have to trust the information. Then I am pushed up on to share it. Then I'm like, I sound crazy. I'm talking to my ancestors. I sound crazy. You got me telling these people this stuff, and I don't have, any, written proof of this. And I was like, it's the truth, though. It's the truth. And then later on, I would start running into information about what they told me. I'd be like, well, why did you not tell me that at first? Because if we would have let you read the book first, you wouldn't have believed it. So we just tell you first and then let you run into information. That's majority how I get start reading most of my books is, they'll tell me something and then I'll find a book about what they told me. Or I'll find some information along the lines or something what they told me to confirm what they told me. At first, I sometimes it be, be something that I just really don't want to deal with, and especially this feminine and masculine thing. I just did not want to touch on this at all, because I knew how I was going to be looked at. But here we go. There we go. So be looking for that book review to be coming up here maybe sometime this week, because I'm still trying to post it and go through it, you guys. So, and I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you get some takeaways from it, because I got a lot of takeaways. If you think that you got a lot of takeaways in the Syllables by Mama Zogby, you're definitely going to get some jewels to take away from the great cosmic mother. You definitely it's really going to empower you. Okay. But thanks for being here with me tonight, engaging in this live with me, even if we didn't do readings, that was fine. But like I said, all my readings are 30% off. I offer counseling sessions as well. We have a variety of products on our online store. If you're here in Arkansas, I offer Reiki chakra healing as well. We got a crystal light bed. If you saw me, I should have posted it here on the channel somewhere. But we got a crystal light bed, which I'm so happy about. I've been doing some therapy on myself, and it's really helped my sciatica. And I've had some nice experiences with that crystal light bed. You have real crystals in each light, and each crystal is a different color associated with the chakra. And then it includes sound healing. So you're getting the sound healing and the crystal light color therapy as well. So it's really nice. So you should try it if you're in the Arkansas area. Or read about it. Okay, you guys have a great night. Love, light, namaste, ashe, one.